Welcome to another live episode of Soul Talks with Alka. Due to stay-at-home policies, we are now doing Soul Talks with Alka episodes live every week on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Our hope is to create an environment in which we can all build a space to share the challenges that we're facing with COVID-19. I invite you guys to join and post questions so that we can all learn from each other. Today, I have with me Brandi. And now we've all heard about COVID. We've all read in the news about COVID, but very few of us know what actually happens. So Brandi's here. She's going to share with us. She was diagnosed with COVID and thankfully has recovered, but she's going to share with us her journey and discuss what she went through. Brandi, welcome to another live episode.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So Brandi, jumping right in, tell us how you felt when you first felt the symptoms.
So I was actually in Belize at the time on a yoga training. I had left before the whole thing really, I guess, opened up and everyone was like the hysteria and all the panic. So I left, and about midweek, I started feeling almost like I had a cold. It was just like sore throat, a little bit of stuffiness. I was very, very tired though. I definitely skipped a lot of things while I was in Belize. I felt myself kind of recoil a little bit from everyone, which wasn't normally like me. I'm very social. I need a lot of like interaction. So I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. We came home on the 18th of March. I walked into my house and my family didn't really want to be around me. So I was out of the country while all of this was going on. So I didn't have all the hysteria and panic that was going on here in New Jersey and probably the rest of the world. So when I came home and kind of everyone didn't want to hug me or really be around me, it was a little shocking. And I was like, okay, this is definitely something. So I took a shower.
Were you tested already? But were
I
you
was
tested?
not.
Okay.
I had just got home on the 18th of March.
Oh, okay.
On the 19th, when I woke up, I definitely knew that something was wrong and I suspected it was COVID-19.
Wow.
But again, with all of the things you're hearing about on the news and social media and all the things that everyone was saying, it's allergy season, right? So
yes,
the sore throat. Yeah. So of course, everybody at the time thought they were sick and having symptoms. So I was like, it's just allergies, I'm tired from all the travel and I'm just going to take some allergy medicine. That went on for about 2 more days. And I really knew something was wrong because I lost all sense of smell, taste, everything. I also felt it was different. The only way I can explain it is like there was a powder in my sinus cavity and kind of like in my chest and throat area.
Wow.
And the next day that came up that was one of the symptoms, was losing the smell and the taste. So I had called for a test, and at that point, since I thought I could be positive, I kind of stayed in my room for the next couple of days. So that was a little hard.
Wow. And you're just coming back from a trip.
Yes.
And that too, a yoga trip, right? So everybody talks about meditation and breathing and saying, that helps you in.
Oh yeah, tremendously.
Right?
Listen, the whole time we were there, of course we're getting texts and some news from the people at home, but in Belize, there were no cases. So there was no panic. So as you know, from yoga, we're very mindful, right?
Right.
So we try to stay very present, and we were focusing on what we were doing there in Belize. I had gone to elementary schools and I was teaching the little kids. So it was a beautiful week. We were really present. So trying not to focus too much on what was going on here.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. But so then when you asked for testing, how long did it take you to get your results back? So
at the time, I went for testing on the 25th of March. So about a week after I had gotten home, because the first couple days, it's allergies. I'm just being like, whatever, I'm tired from travel. So I got the test on the 25th, and it did take probably about a week. I got the positive results on April 2nd.
Wow. So all these days you're in quarantine and your family's not really coming close to you?
So I would say I stayed in my room a lot, like the first few days, because I was really sick and I knew something was
Yeah.
wrong. So I was under my doctor's care the entire time. He knew everything that was going on. Basically, we were all in the same house, but like I couldn't kiss them, I couldn't hug them, I couldn't like, you know, cuddle and sleep with my daughters. I couldn't really, you know, share drinks or food, obviously, like we were used
Right.
to doing. So
Right.
I was basically just biding my time to get my test results. So by the time I had gone in for testing on the 25th,
Mhm.
I was probably halfway through my 2 week period of how long the virus affected me. So
Oh,
then by
okay.
the time I got the results on the second, I was pretty much done with my symptoms.
Got it. So after that, like there was, and what about like your girls? Like they're in the room, they're in the house. How do you
Yes.
prevent your family from not getting it?
Well, I got home on the 18th, the 19th, I woke up, knew something was wrong. So I kind of just stayed in my room and
Hmm.
didn't really like interact much. You know, we wiped everything down. We did all the precautions that probably every house is doing still at the moment.
Right.
But my doctor said, and he's been keeping a close eye on me for years now. He's been treating me. So he just said, as long as I was symptom free, as far as the fever goes, for
Okay.
3 days without medicine, then I am okay to be around everyone. So when I
Got
got
it.
home on the 18th and I woke up on the 19th, I stayed in my room a lot. There was definitely not much interaction.
Hmm.
But again, I also still, even though I knew I was sick, I still didn't have that fear and panic. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if that's coming from yoga
Yeah, I think it's
or
coming
what.
from Belize, a little bit of Belize, a little bit of yoga.
All of it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it for you, right? Because you're in a Zen state.
Yeah, I definitely was. And then I got to New Jersey where I left New Jersey to a normal life, right?
Yes.
Packed planes, the parking lot was packed. I parked my car in long term. I could barely find a spot. A week later, 7 days later, when I came home, not a soul in the airport. There were bars on all the restaurants. The parking lot was completely bare.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy to come back to.
It was like an apocalypse, right? You walked
Absolutely.
like a
One that I wasn't
zone.
prepared for, even though I had little
Yeah.
tidbits.
Yeah. You see this stuff in the movies, but you don't think you're actually going to live through it, you
That's
know?
exactly how it felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But you
didn't
know, did you think
realize the impact until I had gotten back home to Newark and
yeah.
saw.
Yeah, but would you remember, do you recall like how would you have gotten it? Did you ever think like what did I do? Where did I go? Who was sick?
So
Where
I
did I
had a little bit of a different situation. So
Okay.
at the end of February, I went to Costa Rica for
Okay.
another yoga and surf kind of retreat.
Wow, you travel a lot.
I love to travel. You've seen some of my pictures. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes, beautiful pictures.
And listen, if I can tie any yoga into it, the better, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So at the end of February, I was in Costa Rica, had a beautiful time. Nobody was even talking about the virus really. Didn't think anything of it. I
Hmm.
came home from Costa Rica and I was in New Jersey for about a week and a half. And then I left again for Belize. So
Oh,
I am assuming
it was from Costa Rica.
somewhere from the time I left Costa Rica to my travels back to Newark, I'm assuming I picked something up then. No,
Got it.
I was in about 10 different airports in about a three week time frame.
Wow. Oh, so you
Yeah.
were in proximity for a lot of people.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So after, like, are you like now you're COVID free, right?
Yes.
And how long did that whole last?
So I would say it was about 2 to 2.5 weeks.
About 2 to 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, the last couple days of it were very, very mild, although I knew it was still there. Like I could tell I wasn't 100%.
Uh-huh.
It was very mild. I was just like really tired.
Got it. Got it. And are you scared? Alana is asking, can you get it again? Are you scared? Are you panicked? Like, can you get it again or just panic in general?
So I definitely am not panicked. I'm definitely not scared. At any point, I guess I wasn't panicked or scared. I don't know, but
Thanks to yoga.
yeah, right. Let's say it's that.
Yeah.
Um, I so the I don't want to say the results, the scientific research behind it, I don't think is accurate at this point. I think from what I went through and everything, I don't think I would get it again. But I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not scared of getting it. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you going back out? So as life progressed, like have you started to, are you taking walks? Are you taking your kids out?
Yes.
I mean, I know obviously
So,
socially distancing, but
yes.
some people are
So
living in fear. Actually, most of us are living in fear.
I definitely see that. And it's kind of heartbreaking for someone like me who doesn't really live in panic and fear. And it's obviously this huge pandemic and a lot of people are suffering right now.
Right.
So hopefully I can put a little bit of a different spin on it because I wasn't scared when I had it. It was horrible. There's probably no words to describe how sick I was and how it felt. So, but I got through it, right? And a lot of people just, I think that TV and media is kind of like really blowing it out of proportion. And there's another side to it, you know. As far as going out, so I probably didn't for about a month. And if I have to run to the store now, if the girls need something, if I need something, I wear my mask. And that's about it. We go for walks around the neighborhood, bike rides and things like that. I'm trying to make it as normal as possible for right now, you know.
Yeah. So Maureen is asking, when you were sick, was there any specific medication you were taking?
I think they said Tylenol, which I did not take. My uncle is a doctor and I did consult with him. He gave me something, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's an anti-malarial medication. There were 2 pills. I took it the day I picked it up. I want to say it's azithromycin. I could be totally saying that wrong.
Azithromycin?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay.
But he gave me that, and that probably helped a lot and sped it up, you know, pretty well.
Got it. And then Usha is asking, did you have breathing issues? And did you did you have to go to the hospital? I know you were under your doctor's care, but did you have to go to the hospital?
I did not have to go to the hospital. I think, and knock on wood somewhere, I think I managed everything pretty well. There's actually a couple things pranayama wise that you can do to clear the lungs. So I definitely practiced that, some breathing exercises.
Got it.
Yeah, so I think that helped a lot. I also, I'd like to think I'm pretty healthy. So there's not a lot of processed foods and meat and other things going into my system. So I practice yoga every day, meditation. I think all of these things combined really helped me get through it. So there was a woman I was with in Belize, and she woke up on the 19th and was also sick. And unfortunately, she didn't push through as well as I did. She was in the hospital for about a month. So I'm not sure what the differences there are with like her immune system. We're all different, obviously. We have different genes, DNA, all of these things, you know, that affect sicknesses and viruses and things. So luckily, I think I had a few things on my side to really push through it. As far as like the breathing, there was one day where we went to ride bikes, and normally, like, you know, I could go with the kids forever. I definitely felt like a little bit of tightness in my chest, and I had to take a break and kind of like breathe through it. But again, thanks to yoga, there's a lot of different breathing exercises. So,
and this is after your recovery? This was lingering after your recovery?
This was probably towards the tail end when I wasn't, I guess they would call contagious anymore. I wasn't contagious anymore. I was allowed to be around everybody again, and we rode bikes, and I definitely had to like stop and take a break. So it was probably towards the end of the whole ordeal.
Got it. So now how long have you been COVID free?
So I would say my last symptoms were definitely the beginning of the first week of April. So it's been a while now, probably almost 3-4 weeks.
3-4 weeks. And you told me that you are now a plasma donor, which I thought was so amazing and so heart touching.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's like, you know, there's always a lesson in everything, I think, and there's something we can always learn from something. This is a tragedy, but you know what? People are in their homes. Mothers are cooking for their children again. We're getting to homeschool and be with our children. we're getting to learn things about our families that, otherwise we're so busy, we're running here, we're running there. We have the time to like enjoy all of this now.
Right.
And I know I sound
Absolutely.
like unicorns and rainbows. It's not. It's terrible what's happening. It really is. But there's so many beautiful things about it that I just think I'm so grateful for. And now that because I went through it, I get to save lives. I'm going on Friday to a place in Pennsylvania that really, really needs a plasma donor. So I get to help people now because of what I went through. So,
That's
being of
awesome.
service to others is kind of what we're here for, right?
Yes, that's awesome. That's so nice to hear, because
Yeah.
there's so many people who, can potentially be saved if that works.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it is working. I've definitely seen a couple instances where someone really, really, took a turn for the better in 24 hours. And I've been getting calls from Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania. I mean, there's so many people that need it,
Yeah.
know?
So Usha is asking, did you follow any diet regimen when you were sick? Like, did you try turmeric, water, milk, like any?
So I definitely take turmeric every day. It's definitely something I add
Okay.
into pretty much, I mean, everything every day.
Right.
I'm trying to think Ayurvedically. No, I mean, just really mindful, fruits, vegetables. I will say that I probably could not eat for about a week, the first week I was home.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what I was trying to put in, it was not happening. There was absolutely no appetite. And definitely after a week of that, the first food I got to like smell and taste was like heaven. I just wanted to keep going.
Right.
So
So how were
yeah.
you maintaining energy level the first week that you were
Oh, I pretty
not able?
much did not.
Okay,
Pretty
you
much
did not.
didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the time, like when I got home on the 18th and the 19th, I felt like I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
That was it. That whole week, like zero energy. I couldn't eat. I had to maintain like water,
Right.
took vitamins. Sometimes things came back up. But it was definitely a nausea I've never felt before. I guess, for the females, when you're pregnant, maybe that first trimester, it was that nausea times 1,000. It was something I've never
Wow.
experienced before. So I probably lost about 15 pounds, not in a good way, but that I say that because that's how much I could not eat, like couldn't do it.
Yeah. So Ashima is asking you, I know you said you had a loss of smell. Did you have a loss of taste as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not taste anything. I don't care what was put in front of me. If it was
Yeah.
a banana, if it was a cupcake, I could have probably eaten raw jalapenos at that point, and it would
Wow.
not have even fazed me. I had no smell, no taste, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really don't, I mean, you think you understand, but until you go through it,
100%.
you really don't know what this thing feels like.
You don't. And it's like, I try to explain it to friends and people that ask me. And part of it, I just say, like, there's no words that sound enough. There's no words that sound like I could accurately describe how bad it was or what I went through.
Yeah.
And I try, I say, you couldn't taste, I couldn't smell. There was like powder and,
Yeah.
I was nauseous. It's all of that, but it's times 1,000.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really anyone can do.
Yeah. And when you were going through it and you had to tell, even when you were out of danger, when you told someone that you were COVID-19 positive, could you tell that they were a little scared to be around you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel a lot of people don't want to say that to anyone, right? Because they're like, we don't want that reaction.
No, and listen, I don't take it personally because everyone has their own feelings about it. Like I said, I'm someone who am still not panicked or scared. I wasn't then, I wasn't going through it, but I have to honor that some people are. Some people are terrified right now. They're full of panic, anxiety, fear. And again, luckily, I'm not one of those people, but I have to be mindful that there are people like that. So if someone's like, well, a little nervous to be around me, or say I wanted to deliver food from someone and they're like, well, she touched it, so I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll all be together again. So
yeah. Did you also have high fever when you were?
So the funny thing, I had zero fever.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you, it was a little, I guess I could use the word annoying, because it's like everyone would ask, like, well, how was your fever? Like, what did it go up to? And I'm
Yeah.
like, 0 fever. And I remember being home, and, I would talk to my friends. They're like, well, you don't have a fever, so you're fine. And I'm like, you're not understanding. I'm
Yeah.
not fine. I'm telling you, I have no fever,
Yeah.
but something's not right, So
Yeah.
I kept hearing that word fever. And the whole time I knew that I like had it, that something was wrong.
Yeah.
So again, like TV, media, things like that, like the first thing is like the fever, and then, a cough and cold symptoms. It's like, yeah, it can be that, right? But it's not just
Yeah.
that.
It's not just that. And
Yeah,
everybody's body, like you said, is different.
absolutely, right? So we all have different backgrounds. We all have
Yeah.
different lifestyles. That's probably one of the biggest things. So, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I eat well. So yeah, I do. I think a lot of that really, really, really helped me.
Yeah. Do you practice yoga now more? Like, what was your yoga practice before and what is it now? Like, are you doing more breathing exercises now?
So definitely before I got sick, I practiced a lot. On top of my teaching schedule, I'd probably say at least 10 times a week. And that doesn't include like meditation or my kriya, my pranayama. That's aside from like a regular yoga practice. So
Wow.
for the first couple weeks I was home, I did not practice because I was pretty sick, and I really couldn't like move, and I wanted to be mindful of where to put my energy, right? Do I
Right.
want to
Of
go
course.
practice for an hour, or do I want to be able to cook my daughters something or do the laundry, right? So I
Right.
kind of
Of
had to pick
course.
and choose.
Of course.
But yeah, now that I'm ready to go, I'm good. I've been practicing every day.
Got it. Okay. And Alana is asking, what do you think people should know that's not being discussed? That someone can be only if someone who has had it will say, you know what? Here's the little thing I can tell you.
Yeah. So I definitely, not to keep bringing up like fear and anxiety and panic, because it is a real thing, and your feelings, your emotions, they're all valid, right? I can't
Right.
take that away from you. But that's the one thing I can say. I see so much of it, and I just wish I could take it from everybody, because we are going to be okay, right?
Yeah. For
If it's
most
not
part.
tomorrow,
Yes.
it's going to happen, right? One of my favorite words is impermanence, which means, nothing is permanent. This is all temporary. So things, it's all going to get brighter. It's going to get better. We're going to make it through. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of lessons that I think like we can learn from it.
That's awesome. That's this too shall pass.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Susan wants to know, did you get retested again?
So I didn't. And again, listening to my doctor,
Okay.
he said there's absolutely no reason for me to get retested if I have no symptoms. His
Got it.
main thing, the whole time I was sick, was if you are fever free for more than 3 days without medicine, you've worked through it. Your immune system has worked through it. And this
Wow.
is someone, like I said, who's been treating me for years now. I have a thyroid disorder, so he's very used to me. I have to have blood work done every 2 months. So he kind of knows everything. So I really trust him, and I really listen to him.
But you never had a fever though,
Never
right?
had a
So
fever.
right. So
Nope.
you were fever free throughout the whole
Absolutely. Yeah.
throughout the whole episode.
Yeah. But I knew like that, especially that first week, I didn't take a chance. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
he also, at that time, that first week I was sick, he didn't have a positive result for me to say, okay, Brandi, here's what we're going to do. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave you a sort of plan to say you're going to be okay. And I think a lot of that is
Exactly.
mental. You need someone to say it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because the stress also defeats your immune system. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's also a good thing. So now what about your yoga classes? Like, how are you handling your business? Because that's also obviously you can't have people come to your house. What are you
No,
doing with that?
definitely not. So my yoga shala is in Toms River, which is where I live. I opened on January 1st. And unfortunately, I only had about 2.5 months there to build and grow. So it was going okay. I was picking up a little bit of momentum. And then, of course, this happened. And right now, like, I can hop on Zoom and do classes for everyone at home. We can connect, we can have like a little bit of a community and
That's
talk,
awesome.
we can meditate, we can move a little bit, and that's all healing, right? People really need that right now.
Yes. People need to just embrace stillness for a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're not observing your thoughts and emotions, right, this is where panic and fear comes in.
Yes.
So we sit, we get still, we're actually allowed to let ourselves feel, because this whole let it go thing
Yes.
doesn't work. Don't let it go, feel it, right?
Yeah.
Fear, anxiety, the panic, all of it.
Yeah. So if you had to give a word of advice to everybody who is okay, but scared to death about COVID, what would you say from firsthand experience?
I would say shut off the television. Try to not go on social media so much. Try not clicking every single article that comes up, because guess what? No one has any solid answers right now. Every day things are changing, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's just horrible to think that people are terrified of other humans. The other day I went to the store to pick something up, and this man and I kind of almost crashed our carts together. And I smiled, and he looked at me and he said, "I can tell you're smiling under there." And it really was, I don't know, for him to say that and to notice that, and for that to be our interaction right now.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a world right now for
Yeah.
today. It's not going to be like this forever. So yeah, to answer your question, I would say try to stay off the news so much. Try to follow people that you really, really respect and admire and can get some positive things from, instead of the doom and the gloom and all the craziness.
Yeah. So Vivid asked, are you showing any signs of PTSD or emotional health? Are you like panic, or do you wake up thinking, oh my God, that's what I went through?
No, not at all. Zero.
Zero. Okay. And Susan is saying, do you use any essential oils?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So what were the oils that helped?
So I do the doTERRA On Guard. I would do that on my feet. I would do it on my daughter's feet. I would
Okay.
also diffuse On Guard or Purify, and
Okay.
I pretty much have them everywhere in the house.
Okay.
And lavender for like sleeping. I love to add lavender and rosemary before I go to sleep. Frankincense is a really beautiful smell to kind of like alleviate fear. If I needed some energy, I would do wild orange. Wild orange and peppermint together diffusing is kind of like,
Wow.
I kind of say it's my get stuff done mix, right? So if I needed a little boost of energy, I would diffuse that. You can also do things, rub it in your hands, just inhale, right? Let that just work through your lungs, and yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're like a bunch of positive energy through a prognosis that was not so good, and you've come out of it really a better person and saying, you know what, we have a lot to be thankful for.
Of course we do. It's like we're waking up. Guess what? The sun still comes up every day, right? The ocean isn't stopping. There's still waves. We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay. And
Absolutely.
with those words, Brandi, we're gonna say thank you to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's asked questions. And we're gonna be live again next week to continue with this, with the positive. We're going to be talking to somebody from the food pantry. Sarah Tutty is going to be talking to us, who's going to talk about how people are donating food to help others in need, how the humanity has come out during COVID-19. We will see you again next week. Until then, we want to say these are difficult times. Thank you for being with us. We will be with you, and we'll stay strong, stay safe. We'll see you next week. Thank you.